Okay, team, hey, let's move on down to the third activity in 10.2, writing a rule for powers of products. So here we have a product, right? That our base is a product, and we're multiplying that times itself 3 times. So a slightly different situation than we've seen. And here is the trick. I'm just going to, well, let's start just by expanding it out. So 2 times 3 times itself 3 times. If I expand it out, it would look like this. 2 times 3 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. And a trick here to help us, well, we can rewrite this as something much simpler. And here's how I get this. If I'm multiplying a long string of numbers, it doesn't actually matter. The order doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter how I want to. Well, the order doesn't matter. So basically, I'm going to think about this as 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. And that allows me to rewrite the expression like 2 to the third power times 3 to the third power. So this expression is the same thing as this expression. Now, if that's a tiny bit confusing to you, then I'm going to show you the shortcut, and maybe you can already see the shortcut. And that is, if you have a product as the base of a power, then the little exponent applies to both of the numbers in the base, both of the factors, I might say. So 2 times 5 to the second power, this would just be the same thing as 2 to the second times 5 to the second. That little exponent just applies to both of the numbers in the base. And that is also part of our little cheat sheet here. The power of a product property, it's called. It's got a little example here as well. And then the last one, there is one more property of exponents, the quotient property, but we're going to look at that once we get to 10.3. So why don't you go ahead and rewrite these. So pause the video, rewrite these next few before seeing the answers. Okay, here are the answers for the rest of the activity. Now, somebody asked a great question. They said, hey, Mr. Bywater, I know they were asking me about this part A. They said, I know that 2 times 3 is just 6. So is it okay for me to write this as 6 to the third power? Is that okay? And the answer to that question is yes, that is true. That would be just fine in math. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, if I do 6 to the third in my calculator, and I also do 2 to the third times 3 to the third, I'm going to get the same thing. In fact, I'll even show you here. So let's go ahead and go 2 to the third power. I'm going to put that in parentheses here just to make sure that there's no mistakes. 2 to the third, oh no. Parentheses, 2 to the third, close parentheses, times parentheses, 3 to the third, close parentheses. I'm going to do that in my calculator, and we get 216. So if I was asked to evaluate this expression, it would be 216. Now let's also check 6 to the third power. 6 to the third power is 216. So yes, they are the same. Great question.